personal experience about how the line between the kind of relaxation and transcendence in some ways, maybe expanded heart space that can come from meditation, is also very tied, especially when you first begin, to profound discomfort, both like bodily discomfort and also maybe a discomfort in the dislodging of a sense of a solid self or insecurity about when you first face the contents of your mind. And a lot of the quotes that I quoted from the newspaper talk about mindfulness as a sort of a means to an end in many ways. And I think that's a lot of what in our society right now is kind of blowing up mindfulness for test scores, mindfulness for soldiers, and a sense that mindfulness is kind of getting equated with stress relief or a practice that can kind of help for something else. And so I wonder how do you consider this kind of secularization of mindfulness? Do you think it's a problem that we're disengaging it in some ways from Buddhism? And, well, I guess there's a lot in there.
Yeah. First of all, I just wanted to kind of tie together some of the things that were said, and then I'll get to the question. Just because it's on my mind, Zen, the name Zen, if you look at the Chinese character, part of the character has to do with clearing a space for an altar, is how it's translated. And that's how I understand what we're doing with our minds when we attend to our mind and body. And then the second thing about the mind and body, which is very funny, what you said, Cynthia, is actually the word for mind is a picture of a heart. In the way it came into Chinese, it's a picture of a heart. It's a picture of a heart with these little laces hanging down, like feelings, kind of dropping down. And there's a kind of like, at least in the tradition that I grew up in the Japanese tradition, there's a sense that my mind. Yeah. Right? So there's not that separation. And then to kind of tie in this thing about how we can get so oriented to attaining something that our practice becomes wooden. I love the story about Mary coming and tapping on the Trappist's shoulder, and I have to share the story about Avalokiteshvara Bodhisattva, who is the kind of saint, you could say, of compassion in the Mahayana tradition. And we have a story where someone is sitting trying to attain compassion. So he's sitting and trying to attain compassion. And Avalokiteshvara sees this. So, oh, this is so beautiful. And so she comes down from the Tushita heaven and comes over and taps on his shoulder. And he says, "Go away. I'm contemplating compassion." So it's the same story told in a different tradition, and also what you said, Iman, about how we bow. We also bow in our tradition, not as much, but we do bowing, and it's how we draw, and it's so important. This knowledge. Something that I have seen in my life working with people is that, it's not a means to an end meditation, but it is true.